Hello everyone, welcome back to another Commander video. I want to talk about something a little bit different, because I could cover product, I could do a million different deck videos, but I want to do something that I think could actually help other people out. I want to give 5 tips to help you improve your overall playing experience in the Commander format. So just as a little bit of a background for people who are new to my channel, I've been playing Commander since about 2013, so it's been quite some time, and I've enjoyed it. It's my favorite format. Ever since I started playing it, I found no interest in other formats like Modern, Standard, Legacy. They just didn't feel casual compared to EDH Commander. So in 2013, like most other people, I started buying the precons, started playing with those pre-constructed decks just to see how the format would work, and then eventually I got involved in what is probably the best part of the format, and that is deck building. Because you have a 100 card deck, it's a singleton format, chances are you're not going to have the same exact playing experience every single time. That's the benefit of not having the best consistency compared to a format where you could have 4 copies of every card. You are going to have a variety in the playing experience. So the first tip here is play the unusual and the unexpected cards, because chances are everybody's seen Rhystic Study, everybody's seen Smothering Tithe. They're good cards and you should probably play them if they benefit your deck. But I've found more often than not, if I'm just playing nothing but staples, it's easier for my opponents to recognize my strategy, it's easier for them to respond to my strategy. So Rhystic Study is a known threat. Cards like that, people know what they're going to do because they've seen play in so many decks. So try to play something that's a little bit less known. And the good thing about that is we have no shortage of cards that do something similar. It might not be quite that powerful, but you can draw plenty of cards off of enchantments in blue. And by playing the unexpected cards, you kind of minimize the target on your back. Nobody's going to quite view you as the threat at the table if there's an Atraxa on the board, but you're playing something random. I don't know, like a Shattergang Brothers. The more you change it up, the more you play something different, chances are you're going to be better off in the game. The second tip I want to give is you don't have to optimize your decks. This is something I think a lot of people buy into, and a lot of that is because of competitive EDH. You're going to see people that feel the need to put the very best cards in there, the most expensive, the most powerful cards in their deck, because they think that gives them the best chance of winning, which in competitive EDH it might. Everywhere else, you probably don't have to worry about it. I mean, if you're at the point in a game where you have 12 mana and you don't really have much to do, Diabolic Tutor isn't going to be that much worse than Demonic Tutor, depending on what you're going to follow it up with. So if you're just starting out, there's no need to break the bank getting the best possible cards, because you can usually find some pretty decent budget alternatives. And this kind of goes back to number 1, the point I was trying to make about not making yourself a threat by going against the norm. Here we're also going against the norm because everybody's obsessed with making the best possible deck they can make. You know, they go to all the different websites. Let's go to edhrec.com. Let's see the highest percentage card played in every deck. I gotta optimize, I gotta make everything perfect. You really don't. I find often that if I just play to what I feel like, rather than what other people tell me to play, I'm more often going to have a better experience with that deck. And again, this could also be influenced by competitive EDH, that format. There's just more and more that you can do to win the game as soon as turn 3, even sooner than that. But as far as improving your overall playing experience, I don't tend to recommend competitive EDH, because quite often the experience isn't going to be fun for newer players. Number 3 is go outside of your comfort zone. And what I mean by this is play a deck that you don't think you would enjoy. And going outside of my comfort zone for me is playing anything that's Gruul, heavy creature focus. I don't like that because I like having responses. And quite often when you're playing a heavy creature focused deck, you don't always have the responses. You might have the board presence, you might be able to threaten a lot of damage in combat, but I just never preferred it. I do, however, find that if I go outside of my comfort zone, I tend to have a lot better games. And this is also going back to the same point I made with 1 and 2. When you go outside your comfort zone and people know what you're playing, what you're comfortable with playing, which for me is black and white, people don't tend to view you as a threat. If you're playing something that you don't normally play, people are going to say, oh, well, I guess they're just taking a break. They're trying something new. I'll go easy on them this time. Those are the kind of games where you can surprisingly do a lot better just because a lower expectation for your capabilities. So not only will you find new things that you'll love about the color combinations you're not used to playing or the themes that you're not used to playing, but you'll also notice that the reaction you get isn't the same. This is a very political game, and I'm not talking about real world politics here, so don't panic. The politics I'm talking about is how each player interacts with each other throughout the course of the game, and a lot of this is optics, the kind of threat that you pose to other players, or the non-threat that you really are. So it's all about how you present yourself to other players, and you can win a lot of games just by not being that much of a threat, but you're still able to hold your own. So get outside of your comfort zone, play something different. I think you'll be surprised how well you're going to do, because it'll also improve you as a Magic player in general. This is why I play limited, because what's more outside of your comfort zone than playing something you're not used to playing? And this brings me to number 4, which is change the way your group plays Commander. This is something I find to be really necessary for me. Going on 7 years playing this format, you need to do something to refresh the game. It really is something you can play for a long time. You could probably play it for as long as you own Magic cards. It really is just a perfect format for a lot of people. It's convenient. The ban list isn't demanding. You don't always have to change your decks. So what I find I have to do is just change it up with my play group a bit. And you'll see this through people who have their own leagues. So if you start a Commander league, which I recommend, you could have different rules for different games. And each week, as you can see on shows like Commander Versus, they change it up every week. So they might have a different criteria that they have to follow in order to get an extra point, so that at the end of the season they can compete for first. And you could do this by saying, well, only play with this kind of commander, or only play with this color. So all the people in the game are following the same rule. You can only play mono white commanders, you can only play mono red commanders, stuff like that. They do a lot of fun stuff at Commander Versus as well. So you could play cards that only have a certain letter in them. You can only play this tribal deck. One time they even had it so that everybody was playing slivers. So changing it up like that, adding a criteria, just makes the experience so much better. You'll start to care about what's going on when there's more criteria to follow. And the last point I want to make to help you all out here, and again, this was really just for people who are new, who want to continue playing Commander but they're not quite sure. Don't play to win, play to enjoy the game. Now that might sound like a cliche, but it's true. I rarely ever play to win the game. That doesn't mean I play to lose. I play to compete and have fun. This is why Commander is the way it is. Once you've built a deck and you have your unique strategy, you're going to find that it's more fun if you pull off that strategy than the end result. And it's something I always recommend to people, because I see the guys that get so frustrated if they lose. Before 2020, before all the lockdowns, I used to frequent Commander tournaments, and I would see people who get so frustrated if they lose. And you have to just keep everything into perspective here. You're playing a game with likely 3 other players. And while you might be more experienced, while you might have a better deck, just assume you have a 25% chance of winning every game. So if you're playing to win every game, you're only going to be happy a fourth of the time. That right there is a reason why you shouldn't be playing to win. You should be playing to have fun. If you play to have fun, you can have fun 100% of the time. So anyway, I hope this video helps you out. I recommend looking at all my deck tech videos, my top 10 videos. I try to give my honest opinion in those as well. And if you look at the decks that I build, it's not really the consensus top deck, what other people want to play. Most of the time, it's what I personally want to play. And I think that's how people should be playing Commander. It's what you personally want to do. Going back to the first point, I mean, we're talking about playing something that's unexpected, and just having fun and creating something crazy is about as unexpected as it can get. So anyway, you all have a wonderful day. Void here signing off. See you all next time.